So this story is about what happened to me after Tammy died. It affected me in a big way. And I know it's an old corny cliche, but you know how they always say life is short. And when you lose someone that's like your equal, you know, a sibling that's only 1 year different from you, so early in life in such a strange way, a strange, unexpected way, it really did kind of clear my head about that. Like I could be dead at any time, and if I'm gonna do things, I should do them now and not wait. And one of the things that immediately uh, came to my mind was this old Mustang, been sitting on jack stands in the garage for 10 years, maybe more. And I hadn't done anything with it because I didn't really have money for it. And I think maybe I was just sitting on the couch for 10 years waiting for 15 grand to drop in my pocket. And I realized that's never going to happen. And I also realized that I don't need the car to be completely taken apart and restored in order to enjoy it. I just really needed to fix the things that were wrong with it and get it on the road again. So I came up with a plan. I figured if I don't have a car note, then that frees up about $400 a month. What if I spent that much money on the Mustang? I went to Sherry with that idea, and I was expecting a little bit of pushback. But when I told her my idea, she instead said, "Yeah, that's a good idea. You've had the car a long time. You should spend the money to get it on the road again." So I went out there with a notebook and started going through every single thing I could find and writing down what it needed. And then I went in the house on the computer and took my notes and put them in order of importance and how much money I thought each thing would cost. And I chopped it up into pieces of like $500. The first thing I found was a lot of what I expected it was going to cost really wasn't as bad. The frame rails were bad, but that only cost $1,500 to have them replaced. And it's like, that's the reason I took it off the road, because the frame rails were all bad in the back. And for $1,500, it sat for 10 years. I mean, I could have been driving the car all the time. So in about less than 1 year's time of when I started, I had the car back on the road and drivable. And then the following year, I, had the car painted between the help of Jared and my friend Danny. We just hit it and painted each individual part and put it on the car and made it all one color again, which it had always been a kind of a mismatch. And doing that and seeing it come out successful just sort of inspired me to do other things that were kind of big projects that I probably wouldn't have taken on otherwise. I built my own barn out back, and I poured the cement with the help of Tom, and then framed it up. I had everybody come over and help me put the walls up when I framed it, and I built the whole thing from the ground up. And then when it was all the way done to the top, I had Eric come over and put on the roof panels for me, because I'm terrified of heights, and that was one thing I couldn't do. And another big project I took on was I built a huge deck over at Christopher's house, and I had this artistic idea in my head, and I couldn't get it out, of making the floor into angled patterns where one row would go this way, the next row would go that way. And I just really enjoyed putting that together. And that was a big, I think, 16 by 40 foot deck. It was huge, and it came out pretty good, I think, for the first and only deck I've ever built. And I've done a lot of other smaller things since then, including I made a bunch of Adirondack chairs. And one thing I would like to do is build a little cabin up in the mountains. And I'm afraid that if I don't do that soon, I'll be out of time, because what age would you still be able to able to go out there and do that kind of work. Could a 60-year-old do it? Could a 65-year-old do it? Could a 70-year-old do it? Those are, are all big questions, and it's something that you probably want to do sooner rather than later. But it's definitely gotten me off the couch and into the garage. Instead of spending my day sitting on the couch watching TV, I spend my time outside doing stuff. So if there's one good thing that has come out of that, I would say that was it.